Just so you're tracking, we're already live. No one's in the room, but let me know when you're ready. I can see you. I can't hear you. So just so you're tracking. Oh, maybe I should put my headphones on. Are you talking? And that's why I can't hear you because I have headphones on? Hold on. You thumbs up? Ready to come in? I can't hear you. You have to type to me. Yeah, you could type in the private chat, no? I cannot hear you because you're not in the room yet. You're backstage. So you're good. Okay.
Yes. Sorry. I was like, what?
Yeah, so this is live. Remember I was telling you we're gonna do
okay.
Yeah,
No,
so
yes,
I
okay.
scheduled it, and because I scheduled it, I like to, when I tell them I'm gonna be available at 1, to be available at 1. So I was like, "Oh, she'll just come in whenever, it's cool."
Okay, awesome. Hey, y'all. Hi, everybody. Hi.
Uh,
Make
uh,
Okay.
hold on. This dumb. Okay.
I was gonna pour myself a
6
glass of wine.
Yeah, do so. Go ahead.
I should?
Yeah. 6 people in the room. Motown investor. How you doing? You are first.
I should get a glass
Welcome.
of wine, shouldn't I?
Yeah, go get one. Go get it.
My God, there's such a big setup.
No, it's not.
No, I mean, like what I've got
Oh,
going on. There's like wires
okay.
everywhere, and I don't want to trip and fall to my death. Okay, BRB.
Okay, BRB. Six people in the room. Who else is in the room? I know this is pretty early and random for me, but hello.
We back.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, because I started the bottle last night.
Oh,
And I
okay.
just didn't finish it. So I had it ready. And the glass was staring at me. So I said, you know what? Why not?
Why not
Right?
imbibe?
Yeah.
What's that Instagram account? I'm sorry, give me one. We're just waiting for it's 8 people in the room. Okay, Crucible Robbie, hello. No. Are you guys British? How did you find this link, Crucible Robbie?
Not British.
That's crazy. How did you find this link? It's very rare that somebody who isn't following me just like finds the link.
But welcome anyway. We're a fun group.
Yeah, welcome. It's just
They're not
unsuspecting. It's
British.
just like
Hate to disappoint you all, but we
definitely
are.
100% not. So just
Love the
that's
Brits though.
thank you. Yeah, do. I mean, we did a whole 90 Day Fiance UK. Of course we
Oh
love
my
them.
gosh. Of course. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Algorithm. Okay, fun.
I love that. Yeah, so we talk about Love is Blind. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if it's available in the UK yet or whatnot. Hello, hi Quay. Okay, we got 20 people in the room. Let me get out my pen and paper so that I can start documenting some times because I like to be
Timestamps.
timestamps. I like to be professional with it. You know what I mean? make sure that for
We
those
love that.
replay gang girlies, they know when we get started. Okay, let's go and cue everything up. You ready?
Ready?
All right. And let's start at 5:30. And hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of Love is Blind season 10.
Smooth.
Episodes 8 and episodes 9. This is called A Snake in the Grass. And just being honest, my name is Wah. I do recaps of relationship reality TV shows such as 90 Day Fiance, Love After Lockup, Love is Blind. So if you are all interested in that content, please subscribe to my channel. Next to me, I've got my good friend Shay. Shay is joining me on this journey of Love is Blind. She is the co-host of the Love is Blind on Just Call Me Wah. Shay, tell them about yourself.
Hi, friends. I'm here joining my lovely friend Wah. Because and by we I mean me, I just like to talk a lot of shit about the people who make these bizarre choices on this series, and I'm excited to talk about it. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're talking Love is Blind, as I said before. If you guys are watching this and you get the hee hee ha ha's and you want to give your girl a tip, you can do so with the options down below. Down below you'll also find Shay's socials, so if you want to give her a follow. And yeah, so let's jump right into this because why not? What time is it? Okay, we're gonna start at episode 8, and we're gonna start that at 7. So we'll get started at 7. The 7 timestamp. Okay, so we start off this episode of Snake in the Grass, where they show the couples are first working out, which is just like, bleh. I have always tried to be a workout girly, and you've been doing it. You've been doing it. It's just like I start, and then I finish. It has to be something that I am interested in. So that's why I do pole work, because the pole work gives me that exercise. And it's fun. And while I'm in class, I still hate it. Like I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this one anymore.
But I feel like the goal is always just to move your body, whatever that looks like for you, for anybody.
Yes.
And I feel like that one thing about the show is they always do incorporate some kind of physical bits, whether it's tennis or they're going running, or there's always some of that in these episodes. And I don't know if it's because of we're in a fitness workout culture, but we see it routinely in the show, and it doesn't add or at all to the storyline.
At all.
Ever.
It just wants you to know that these people work out and you don't. So
it's shame.
You should feel bad. Yeah. So they're at Jess's house, and Jess has her woman cave. She has her she shed. But it's actually her bedroom, as it should be, because that's where she lives. And so she doesn't need a separate space to go in to make more mess and create more havoc. She does have a large home. I think it's like a 4-bedroom. Yes. Yeah. And she's just like, listen, I have a family and I want those people to be able to come to my house and relax. And I said, that would be me.
I love that. I feel like every family needs that. At least one person to be like, we're gonna go to her house. Let's just take it there.
Yeah. Oh, I would love that. And then just to wake up and have like an auntie or like a sister in the kitchen cooking when you wake up, it's just like a blessing.
Yeah, I'm sure she's the one that hosts at her family often. I think she mentioned that that's something she always wanted to do and likes to do. I mean, the woman's a physician, right?
Oh,
she's an infectious disease physician. She was busting her tail, especially during the pandemic. She deserves to have a lovely home and a nice place to rest in. And I'm glad she's got it, because you can tell she's worked her ass off.
Yeah. I mean, her couch swallowed her up. And I said, that's what I thought I was getting when I got my couch. I paid too much money for a Joybird couch, and the cushions don't cushion the way they need to cushion. I mean, yes, does it go in different shapes? Yes. But are those shapes advantageous to me? No.
Right. You need a little bit more than that.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. And it was
but you
too
can
much
tell
money.
They both really sunk into that couch. And there's nothing like having a really good place to just
luxurious
dump your body on.
Yeah, but it was white. And then I go to myself, people who buy white couches are people who either don't wear makeup or don't mind makeup being on their couch.
Oh, I didn't even think about makeup. I thought about all the snacks and crumbs because I'm a foodie, but definitely I didn't even think about makeup one time. And I have a light gray couch. It's so interesting. I never
think
thought about
makeup. The makeup all the time. I'm like, I can't even relax on this because if I have an amount of makeup on, it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
So, We move on to then Alex and or no, maybe I just wrote. I said Alex reminds her that he doesn't want to be trapped in Cleveland. No, this is Alex and Ashley. So Alex and Ashley are in a weird standoff place. They're at their apartment, and we didn't see his apartment. Did we see her apartment? I don't know. Have we seen their personal homes? We surely didn't see his personal home because I don't think he actually has one.
Correct. He's a nomad, as he's
Yeah.
declared so many motherfucking times.
Yeah.
But she actually don't, because they were having this conversation around a table of sorts.
Yeah,
But
but
I don't know if
it
that's
was
the
their
shared
it was a
apartment.
shared apartment.
Hmm.
And she's got her work laptop with all the work laptop stickers on it. Like I was like, wow, your laptop your work people be putting barcodes on top of it, right? At least our barcodes are hidden there on the bottom. They're like,
Right.
no, this is not
There you
hers.
go.
Yeah. So he's like, listen, I just want to be clear that I don't want to be trapped in Cleveland. So we talked about you talking to your boss,
Right.
TikTok bitch. And she's like, it's been 5 days. She's not even that. She's like, it's been 2 days. It's
Right.
been two
She's like,
days.
"Can I get through my emails? Am I
Yeah,
out of office?"
yeah,
A little bit.
I have a meeting with my boss tomorrow and I will talk to him about it. And he's like, well, you're talking to him about quitting? And she's like, no, I want to talk to him about what options there are because I want to stay working with my company where I have some sort of seniority and know-how and I'm building a career there and I want to make those connections and I want to stay at this job. But if there's opportunities in either Arizona or Florida, I will explore those. But
Right.
I don't know it until I talk to my boss.
He can't relate to any of what she's saying.
No,
He
he
doesn't
can't.
know what it's like to maybe have roots somewhere and want to build a rapport in the organization you're in, want to move up in it, and to know that stuff like that takes time. And right now, this is probably the first conversation she's having with her manager about it. And those of us in kind of the working space know that it doesn't just happen like that. Right? You plant the seed, they tell you about what's possible, they go back and speak to whomever, and it's an evolving conversation.
Mm-hmm.
He is applying so much pressure, and rightfully so. She gets very irritated and very
Yes.
annoyed. I would have been like, "What did I just say to you? Didn't I just say to you to wait till tomorrow? Why did you just repeat what you just said 3 seconds ago when I just told you to wait till I have the conversation?" And he keeps
Yes.
saying trap, trap, trap. And I'm like, to trap somebody implies that you have something. You have nothing. You don't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what your profession was once upon a time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know where
Mm-hmm.
you've lived or where you want to live. We don't
Mm-mm.
know anything about you,
Mm-mm.
sir. Because I heard
Mm-hmm.
Alex isn't even his real name. But he's changed it. That was actually Alec, which I think, whatever, it's fine. It's not that big a deal. But he changed his name. So I say that to say that everything about this man is fake.
Oh my God.
And even though, the situation with Ashley's family in the last episode was sketchy and weird, it was just a weird scene.
Oh, it
But
wasn't sketchy. It was.
I just think it was the whole dynamic of everyone around that table was just like, no,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
But I feel like I was agreeing with her in her irritation with him.
Yeah. Yeah. I I was agreeing with her because he was wanting things to happen very quickly. And she's like, we have at least 3 weeks because we haven't said I do. So I am not going to put things in motion when you and I aren't necessary. Like, how was that conversation with her boss? Hey, could you imagine? Hey, boss, I know you're like a 55-year-old white man who like has children who are younger than me and somehow sees me as like your oldest daughter, yet someone that you might be attracted to. I am on a show where I have to decide in 3 weeks where I'm going to marry and whether I'm going to marry somebody, but that's somebody that I haven't decided to marry yet. Wants me to move to Florida or Arizona
Immediately.
immediately. So can you tentatively create an opportunity for me to tentatively, maybe if I marry this person,
Mhm.
go to either Florida or Arizona? Habusola. Like that's crazy. It's
No,
crazy.
it's absolutely insane, and I feel like and mind you, she is committed to first best case scenarios, her staying at this company and having a transfer opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
That entails obviously having to liaise with the other location. There's just so many steps to it. I just
Mm-hmm.
can't believe that he's really expecting this to be an immediate turnaround, especially because she's coming off of PTO that she just took from this
Yeah.
job to
Yeah.
be in the pods, right? And
Yes.
and so and I'm suspecting that ahead of time, she said to them, hey guys, I'm actually going on this show. It's called Love is Blind. You may have heard about it. We're recording now and all this stuff. I may come back engaged. I might not. We'll see when I come back. So
Yeah.
this is her having the first touch point, probably
Yes.
post pods, to
Yeah.
let them know, hey, actually, yes, I ended up getting engaged. And should I say yes? Newsflash, this man is now applying extreme pressure. And instead of it being a sort of collaborative conversation, I am being asked to uproot my life and move to Arizona and or Florida.
Yeah, and I said I would do that because I wanted to seem like a woman who was would do anything for marriage. And so that's part of what is happening right now, and I have regrets, but here we are. Also the next thing, he's like, "Okay, great. Also, I put the water bottles in the refrigerator in a certain way and then you came and moved it. I fold the towels a certain way and you came and changed it. I don't like it. I don't like that. It makes me feel like I'm not being a good housemate, husband, and or I'm not doing like domesticity correctly." Now, I will say that on a certain level of anxiousness, I agree with him.
Yes, me too.
Okay, because like he already has an insecurity. Who knows what his apartment looks like? He already has an insecurity that he is not doing like home life correctly because he has never had what he would probably consider a stable, normal home. And so he puts water in the refrigerator thinking that he's doing it in a decent manner because at least he had some rhyme or reason, and she changes it. He folds the towels and she changes that. And so that gives him a little pause. And I would agree with that. But that coupled with the fact that he's like, "Don't trap me in Cleveland," I think is a lot for her. And then on top of that, they have not had sex. And I didn't
I believe like
realize
what, 4 or 5 days or
5 days. I did not realize how much she required that. She's like Britney in that, except for she wants to actually have sex, not just be told she's pretty. And she's like, "We were touching and stuff yesterday, and then you were like, all right, I'm going out." And she's like, "Well, yeah, you could have just said you wanted to have sex." And she's like, "Well, I don't want to have to initiate. Like, I want to have sex because I already told you that I want to have sex all the time." And he's like, "Well, I don't know when your cycle is." So he's trying to like combat her feelings of wanting to have sex with his uncommunicated stress and worry about getting her pregnant. Now, I have dated somebody who I told I wasn't on birth control, and we were using protection. Yet, and still, he wanted to know if and when I got my period. And I said to him, "It's fine if you want to know that. Like, obviously, I get that you don't want this, and believe me, I would absolutely have an abortion. So, like, I need you to know that I would, even if your genes are something that I don't want.
Yeah.
So, like, I get it, and I will give you that information." Now, the fact that he's like, "Don't put a baby on me." So he's talking to her about trapping her in several different ways, and she just is like, can't handle it. What would you do?
This was such an infuriating conversation
because
I felt myself bouncing back between both of them. I understood her point again about the job conversation. I wanted him to chill out with that. And then he comes with the water bottle towel stuff. And a part of me was like, okay, I can see how that can be annoying when you're like, okay, is what I'm doing not right? Or is there a certain way that we want to balance this? But again, at the end of the day, I think everything warrants a conversation. And you don't have to feel a certain way. But again, these people don't know each other. They don't really like each other either. And at the end of the day, this is the underbelly of everything. That every time that there's an issue. And so that alone, to me, I hate the side with men. Absolutely hate it. And in that moment, I was like, okay, I can see how that can be annoying from his perspective. And and equally, it seems so trivial and so small in the grand scheme of everything that we're talking about, because he went right back to being somebody I was like, shut up. Like, I wanted to mush him in the forehead, because why are you repeatedly saying, I don't know when your period is. I don't know your cycle. I don't know this. I don't know. Well, I don't know when it's done. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. First of all, you don't need to know. Second of all, the minute he said, if you want to share your app with me, oh my God, I almost ripped off my TV from the wall when he asked if he could share or have access to, I forget what the words were, to her cycle app. I don't have a cycle app to begin with because I'm not having, and nobody gonna track me that much. But I couldn't believe that he had the audacity to ask it. And that's why I was happy that she didn't even entertain it. She was like, no, that's not happening. Like, dub, never in your mother effing life will that happen. That was so
Okay.
weird to me. I just couldn't understand why he was so hell bent on that. And then he's got a little belligerent because then he
Yeah.
started to be like, "Well, why won't you fuck me? Why won't you fuck me then? Why didn't you fuck me?" And I'm like, "Calm down."
No, she was the one who was like, "Why didn't you have sex with me?"
No, yeah, but then he turned around and he said to her, he was like, "Well, then," when he mentioned about her not initiating it, his
Oh
position
yeah,
was that
he's
he
like,
had been initiating it from the beginning.
"Yeah, and it's your turn," or something like
Right. And
that.
he was like, "So why?" And then he just came out and was like, "Well, why didn't you fuck me? Why didn't you fuck me then?" And I was like, "Oh, all right. You're getting a
Yeah, I
little
don't know
too
what their
hot."
dynamic is. It seemed like he was the dom in the situation and that she was going to be the submissive, but they probably never had that actual conversation. And so she's probably just like putting out signals and that he's supposed to pick up on. But it's like his fear of having an oops baby because he was somehow told that he was an oops baby and took that to heart. I wish I want, and I will continue to say this, there are certain things in society that I want us to be able to let go of as humans because I think that society creates the stigma around it. One is women who get called a whore or a slut and having that truly affect their person.
Mhm.
Like, let go of that. Like, if some
Release it.
man or anyone calls you a whore, okay, thank you, bye. Like, I don't want that to ever be
Yeah.
a sting or something that someone can say to you that causes you grief. Okay, because it's too much.
Yeah.
Next thing I want us to let go of is the my parent abandoned me thing. Like, it's very real, right? And it's
Mhm.
or like not growing up in a two parent household means that I missed out on something because I guarantee you that there are people who grew up better, maybe hard, but better by not having two parents
Mhm.
who are hollering at each other
Right.
in the house. And a
Right.
lot of that comes from society put the stigma on them of being from a single parent household. Oh, you were from a single parent household.
Right.
Like that's something so negative. And I wonder how many people would feel differently about themselves if society didn't have these stigmas put on people. And this next one is him. I mean, there's a couple others, but this
Mhm.
next, just to pare it down, this next one is him. Is him feeling like, I don't want to have an oops baby because I was an oops baby. I was never wanted.
Yeah, he brings that up a lot throughout this season.
Yeah.
He mentions that, and you can tell it's something that he has probably heard of, had to comment on, always had to carry with him.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's like a hovering shadow everywhere he goes that he has to, because he's reminded of it constantly, he wants to remind everyone around him. And this
Yeah.
is the moment with Ashley where he's like, "Don't want that, don't want that, don't want that." Even though I think that's paired up with the fact that he doesn't want her. So it's not that he doesn't want an oops baby, it's that he doesn't want an oops baby with someone he doesn't really care about like that and someone he doesn't really see longevity with.
Yeah.
And I think that's his way of saying those very things. Like, I'm not going to say yes to you at the end. So I don't want us, yeah, we can kick it and have fun and we can do all this other stuff, but I'm not trying to anchor anything here. I thought that was
Yeah.
loud and clear, and I can see from her body language that I think that message landed with her.
Yeah. So they're arguing about it, and she ends up having to go into the other room. And then somehow, maybe like 30 minutes later, producers are like, "Hey, we gotta go. So can you guys like wrap this up and create some kind of like kumbaya moment so that we can film it and then go?" And they're like, "Okay, yeah." And so she puts on her glasses or whatever and puts on a sweater or something and comes out to show that some time has passed. And he's still sitting at it and he apologizes for his point, but he also doesn't want to take responsibility for certain things. And I
Mhm.
was already at that point when he was like, "Yeah, so I'll go ahead and accept my part of it, but I want you to accept some part of it too." I said, "Oh, I can't be in a relationship with you, and neither can Ashley. Like, you can't, I can never be with somebody who's like, I'm going to accept my part of it, but I need you to accept your part of it too. No, I need you to just make a decision.
Right.
Don't tell me what I need to do."
Especially because you can't make anybody do anything.
Yes.
And the most you can do perhaps is like he's doing, maybe requesting it, mentioning it in the conversation, but you can't control that. He can't control that. And he's got to
Absolutely
be
not.
comfortable not receiving it.
Mhm.
Because, and I think if not for the whispers from producers, I doubt that there would have been any resolution to that conversation. I think he would have just doubled down and dug deeper.
Yeah. Me too. I think he would have doubled down.
'Cause that's just who he is.
He's like, I've initiated plenty. I've initiated plenty, and I don't know what that's. I don't know what that. You know what it is. I would never not initiate. Like I would be like, oh, I would like to have sex. Like I would
Yeah.
like to have sex because for me it would be so loud in my brain that I wouldn't be able to like not do so. As soon as he was like, "Oh, I'm leaving," I was like, "You're leaving? I want to have sex."
Yes, I think oh, but every time I can't help but think back to just, like, all of Ashley's comments around and this is gonna be weird to bring up now because we're talking about sex, obviously, but all her comments around her father being a protector and provider. I think she just saw her mom sit there and not ask for anything, or
Maybe.
suggest anything, or want for anything, and that includes voicing her needs. I'm sure the
Yeah.
woman has lived there with a lot of unmet needs, but I think Ashley's one of the ones where she's like, "He should just know." And
Yeah, no.
maybe I would even give a little grace for that if it's someone that you've been with long term, significantly long term, once you learn your habits and the body cues and the nonverbal dialogue and all of that. But you don't know this man. He
I
does not
also
know you.
I honestly this is the way I feel and I know it's probably shitty and I don't know any other way to say it, but like if you and I are in some kind of exclusive monogamous situation, like give me my sex. Like give it to me because like otherwise I would go out and figure it out. You're telling me that you don't want me to have sex with anybody else.
Yeah.
Okay, give me my sex.
But that's the point. I don't know that it's not that he's saying that he's not going to give it. And that's another part that I got really annoyed with. But he was like, isn't every time we have it, isn't it good? And there was a little bit of a pause. And I think she was doing that just for dramatic effect, which I kind of enjoy. Like, yeah, let him sweat it a little bit. And then she was like, "Yeah, I enjoy it." But he really I don't know what he expected there, but I at the end of the day, this was an unnecessary conversation.
Yeah. That means part of it wasn't necessary. Part of it was
Part of it,
necessary.
yeah. But the sex bit to me, I was like, "Well, you got back from something yesterday and you wanted him to stay and he left." I agree with you. I would have been like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. Did you forget something?" And
Give
then
me
you do a
my
little playful
sex.
banter, and then before you know it, wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. By the way, "Give Me My Sex" is from 90 Day Fiance. I feel like it's Danielle, Jabali, and Muhammad. Anyways, I could be wrong about the exact quotes, but she wanted sex from him, and he was like, "No, you smell." Anyways, Jordan
Valid.
meets Amber's brother, and
Mm,
it's a
mhm.
decent meeting. It's decent meeting between two men who sort of look like each other.
Yeah. I
And
was like,
that's it.
"Oh, there's a theme here."
Yeah. Then we move on to Vic and Christine, and they talk about they're in the park walking around,
Mm.
and Vic brings up a very important conversation where he's like, "Listen, your children are going to be black." And not coming from a place of like victimhood, which I was like, pause. What do you mean victimhood? Like,
Mhm. Me too.
don't pander to this white lady.
My
Like,
antenna went up
they
right
can
there.
think whatever they want to think about whatever they want to think about black people. We are
Mhm.
victims. So I just, but
Right,
he's not coming from a place of not qualify it.
right.
But like also the world isn't colorblind, and neither will our kids be. The fact is that you and I had the same experience with a misdemeanor, yet I almost went to jail and lost my life over it,
Right.
and you walked away
Nothing.
with a slap on the wrist. So like let's do that. So I thought that was a good like conversation that they needed to have. Also, doesn't she kind of look like a dormouse? Like I feel like her ears are big and she looks a little like a pet.
I not like a
She looks
pet.
like one of Cinderella's like she looks like one of
Oh my gosh, I
Cinderella's
know
niece.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, she looks like
When
one
you
of
s the
Cinderella. Like
second you said Cinderella, the picture of the specific
not
mouse you're
Gus
talking
Gus,
about.
not Gus Gus, but the other one.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. This was such an interesting conversation between them because there were a few moments where my antenna went up. One was the one you just mentioned when he said victimhood. The other one was when she flat out asked him, like, "Would you have any concerns about, you know, your children having a white woman for a mother?" And like, and he was like, "No, none at all." And I was like, "None at all?
Oh, like you
None
do.
at
So
all?
you
Not one, not even one?" I
yeah,
think
he
the
did. He
authentic
does.
thing to say, right, is inherently because of the way society will approach this relationship and our children, of course. Of course, I'd be lying to you if I said that I didn't. Do I think it's something we can navigate? 100%.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
do I think they're able to? Yes, because
Yeah,
I believe they're dynamic. I
yeah.
I trust in it. I think they trust in each other. I think it's healthy, at least from what we've seen so far. However, I thought in that moment, I'm like, Vic, you have the verbal tools to communicate exactly what you want to articulate to her about this very sensitive topic. Why would you say no, none, not at all? I was like, black man, you was lying.
Yeah. I agree with that. But I also think that there's a part of their relationship that we haven't seen, because we haven't seen it as much as anybody else.
Right.
Because the producers aren't following them in
No.
their fake home watching them.
Mhm.
You're absolutely right. They are a supplementary couple because they are not even in the same apartment complex
Right.
as the
I heard they
others.
were an afterthought. That, like, they had created the
Ah.
entire season, probably saw the outcomes. Again, none of us have seen it yet. And then they were probably like, we can't have a repeat of Denver or Minneapolis or whatever. So
Where
like,
no one gets married. So they like went back and just added their little segments. And I would
but all they
absolutely believe
had
it.
was the additional footage
Yeah.
of them isolated. So
I
they
feel
had
like
to
even
kind
the
of,
conversation of them walking I feel like the conversation with the mom and the conversation with them walking in the park talking was something that was probably filmed afterwards. Because
good point. Yeah.
I could absolutely see him going, no, when you have our child, you are going to immediately go into mama bear mode and protect. I honestly think that white women who have black children, and I'm going to say it that way on purpose,
Hmm.
do them a disservice in this country when they try to act like, oh, but you're half white, so you're half protected.
Because that's not how the world sees them.
Because that is not how the world sees them. And that
Right.
is not how their black peers
Right.
or white peers see them. And you create a lot of chaos when you don't acknowledge that your children are black.
Right.
Because I've seen that, where I've seen the girls who are like, no, my white mom knows I'm black.
Hmm.
And where it's like, no, my white mom says that I'm half white too. And I'm like,
You're
unless your
absolutely.
whiteness is rooted in some ethnicity that you can put a pin on, like
Hmm.
we are Italian, so I'm half American Italian, and these are our
Hmm.
cultures. This is our very specific Mike and his family Italian culture, and you can find a
Hmm.
very similar version of that in Jersey, the same way you can find a very similar version of that in Pennsylvania. Like, unfortunately, there are several contingencies of whiteness in America. While they all manage to be different depending on location. Like a Cajun white is a
Hmm.
different white
100%.
than a Minnesotan white
Right.
person.
Right.
And it all has to do with the roots of how their ethnicity and their culture and their traditions show up in their everyday life.
Yeah.
Right. And those people are different than the Boston whites, because the Boston whites are then now all they're
Right.
Irish, they're
The
this,
Irish
they're
Catholic
that.
Church. Yep.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all very different. And so sometimes when we lump in whiteness as though the whiteness in America isn't just as diverse as the blackness in America, we
It's a
do a
good
disservice to those children who are biracial. Because if you are just middle America white mixed with black, like you don't have it's a different feeling to like
point. Hmm.
call to when it comes to your ethnicities and how they show up. So like when a white woman is like, I don't see color, my child is just the same as me, and like they
Hmm.
whatever, I'm like, you're doing a disservice because you're sending them into the world
Ill
with a
prepared.
ill prepared for what they're going to walk into.
Right. Right. No, you're 100% right. And, I think there was a moment where Christine brings up um, something that biracial people bring up constantly, that they are often told that they're not white enough for their white family or not black enough for their black family. And that they always kind of struggle with their identity because they feel that they don't belong to either culture.
Well,
I
tell them
think
they're
that,
black. Just
well,
tell them
right.
they're black, and then
But
they'll
I'm saying,
be fine.
I think that's often how society will paint them, right?
Yeah.
Society will, the one drop rule and all those things will always, especially depending on how they grow up, especially if there's a big um, a visual gap between how their white mother looks compared to, if they have black features or curly hair or whatever the case may be.
Or
It's
if their white
so
mother is even brought to the cookout, because
right,
sometimes that's the difference too. If your white mama or your Latina mama is at the cookout, you don't necessarily have that same
right.
reservation.
Right, right. No, it's 100% true. And I think there's so much we can learn from this dynamic between Vic and Christine. I do think they're both really open-minded to this because I think they are truly invested in their relationship. And I do think at the end of the day, they will make do. I would love, hopefully, we get to see this, I don't know, to meet his family and to be able to see how they respond to her. Her mom was super, very warm and open. But at the end of the day, it's often the black side of the family that has to carry the weight of a mixed race couple coming into
Mhm. Mhm.
the family.
Mhm.
Even though they're more often the more open-minded and
Yeah.
receptive. to it.
If the trifling black daddy, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say it because there are some trifling black
Yes.
daddies
Yes.
who get with white women and then just leave that black child with that white lady. And
Yes.
that child don't know nothing about her
Yep.
granny.
Nothing. Yep.
They don't know nothing about anybody on that side of the family, Devontae.
Yep.
And so they end up walking
Waiting
the
to go to
world.
college and
Yeah.
learning then, like, oh,
Yeah.
I've heard
Or
so many
walking
stories
the
about biracial people with white mothers who their black fathers have kind of abandoned the relationship and the child, and their white mothers raised them white, saying, "You're white,
Yes.
you're white, you're white." And only when they go to college and they start seeing other people like them that they're like, "Wait, hold on," and then they start asking critical questions,
Yes.
and that's when they get the truth. And to me, that is incredibly insulting and hurtful to that child to have them go through life not even having a glimpse of their identity or even understanding it. Because at the end of the day, everyone is searching for that, regardless of how much information you give them. Look at Emma. It's the same situation. Emma wants to know more about herself and her history. And I think that's a fair thing to want.
Yeah. 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 This is a deeper
I
conversation.
know. Yeah.
So we move on now to, speaking of Devontae, move on to him and Brittany. And Brittany's like, this is 10 years in the coming. Like, I've not brought anybody home in 10 years. And I was like, since you were in college? But listen, I haven't brought anybody home anyway. My dad thinks I'm lesbian, so it's fine. He says that his grandfather was a reverend. And I said to myself, does that mean he was white? Like, who are you talking about? Is he a pastor? Or you a reverend? Because reverends are still black. So like,
Right.
I still want to better understand Devontae's makeup because I need to understand him more.
That's a great point.
Yeah, he gets to her people's house and they are
lovely.
I said, you know what? The man, that daddy is black. He's not
Yes.
he's a black man. And the mother is Latina. And that they are in a mixed house. That
Yep.
brother is mixed. She's mixed. He has a Latina girlfriend.
Yep.
I said, give me the barbecue and the tacos.
Right.
I said, I need the rice and beans, the different types of rice and beans.
Yes.
Okay.
Even though Brittany's mom was adopted and raised by a white family.
Yeah, she was.
So
but
you can tell that at the end of the day, she's still like, we're Colombian in this house. You know what I mean? I loved meeting her family. I thought they were the appropriate level of curious, supportive, loving, open-minded. And I said, you know what? I can see why Brittany is so bubbly.
Yeah.
And warm and all of these things. And I said, it was I thought my favorite scenes of this season. I thought the dad was, I don't want to say laying it on thick because I really think he was even keel kind of the whole time. And I thought he was playful and kind of joking with Devontae, which I don't think Devontae deserves. But I really did like the entire scene at the house. You could see that Brittany kind of settled a little bit. And I think it was only because Devontae was not his authentic self. Like he was performative. He was playing into I think the father even asked, like, are you smitten? Like, when did you realize you were smitten? And I'm like, he's about to lie to your face.
Yeah. Also, the dad at the end was like, welcome to the family, brother. And I said, Devontae, tell that man you're not a brother. Devontae, like, tell that man you're not a brother. Tell that man that you actually told the producers that you've never dated a woman of color. Tell that man, sit in that table with all these colored people and you tell them folk, I've never dated a person of color. Say that to them.
Like, he's a coward.
Say that to them. Sit in that room with all them colored people and tell them that you ain't never dated a person of color.
First of all, the producers would have zoomed in.
Yeah, let alone been engaged to one.
Right.
To one of them. Like, I mean, I was like, don't call him brother. He doesn't deserve that.
I hope. You're right. He doesn't deserve it. I hope the reunion addresses this. We have more episodes. And the reunion is always soft hitting and weak. And they never get to the real nucleus of these people. But I would absolutely love it. I would curl up with it. If they would just ask Devontae, who the F are you, man?
No,
or who you think you are?
Is Devontae, do you identify as black?
That's it.
That's it.
But you know, well,
yeah.
I'm actually
collectively everybody's gonna yell.
What I heard was I was told.
Yes. The black side didn't really accept me because I was too. No, you weren't too anything.
Cut the cameras, Devontae. Wrap it up.
Yeah, get out of here. So basically the family was just talking about they don't believe in divorce, and I think it's so
We've heard that a lot.
weird when people say that. It's a lot of like, we don't believe in divorce in this
I don't know
family.
why.
And I don't know why either, because I think
Exists.
to myself, do you think that the people who get divorced are just getting divorced because they're weak
For funsies.
cowards? Like, no, these are people who are actually very strong and are like, no, thank you, this isn't working. Like,
and have likely tried multiple times to make it work.
Yes. And or have been cheating. Like, some people, hey girl, some people get divorced because their spouse is cheating on them. So don't make it seem like folks are just getting divorced because someone put the fork in the spoon rack and the spoon in the knife rack, and that they're not people who are down for the struggle. No, sometimes some people's husbands or wives steal money and have gambling addictions.
Right. Sometimes you find out that your partner's a raging alcoholic and has been stealing from you and embezzling funds and being indecent at work and being right. And oftentimes the people that say they don't believe in divorce always bring up religion, right?
Yes.
And to me, I'm like, well, didn't your God create divorce? Because why? I don't understand. If you're saying that God creates all things, or your God or your gods, whomever, isn't divorce one of the things that they created? Why would they create a tool not to be used? It's like that one, it's not a meme. It's just like the story where they're like, oh, I don't know how to swim, and I was in the ocean, and I was like, God, save me. And somebody with a boat came. They're like, no, it's fine. God will save me. And then someone else came with a life vest. And you're like, no, God will save me. And then you drown, and you end up in heaven. And God's like, and you're like, God, how come you didn't save me? He's like, bro, I sent you a boat. I sent you the life vest. I sent you everything. I sent you all the resources, bro. You ignored all of it, and that's why you up here with me now. Because what's not clicking?
Yeah,
divorce is one of those things.
It's very, very crazy to me that when people say things like that, because the assumption that they're having on why people get divorced is they're so incorrect. And I think that anyone who's married a pedophile who's enacted on their pedophilia, get a divorce. Anybody whose husband is stealing money and has a gambling addiction, and now you forego your house, get a divorce. Anybody who you've asked over and over again to take out the trash and make up the bed, and they don't do it because they don't respect you, get a divorce.
Run,
like,
don't walk.
Ugh, I hate it so much.
We've seen it a lot this season.
It creates such bad behavior, and it makes women and men feel like they have to be stuck in something that isn't working, because their overarching idea is, we don't believe in divorce. And it's like, if you do get a divorce, you've got to get the pastor's permission. You've got to get both parents' permission so that they can defend you to who? So they can defend you or so that you can feel good about your child's divorce. I mean, and I'm going to feel the same way once we start talking about Mike and his family. But let's move on. So we've got Bree and her mom. They like talk over each other. Bree and her mother are the same person, because Bree comes over to Connor. No, Connor comes over to Bree's house, and I don't know when this happens, but I'm gonna just say it because I don't know if I wrote it down. But I don't know when it is that Bree meets his family, or in the order, or when she meets, or when Connor meets her mother. But there's this idea that Connor keeps wanting to nail in everybody's heads that he's just a blue collar guy who works for a dump company, like a trash company. He's just a blue collar guy. And at some point he says he's a blue collar guy, and his mom goes, blue collar? Because I'm sorry, do you think that you're Roseanne's husband? Do you think you're Dan? You're Dan Connor? You're not Dan Connor, sir.
Does he think it's because he supports like a Department of Public Works entity, because he's in sales?
But he's also white collar because he works on a computer.
Right.
He's
not
out there with dirty hands. His hands aren't dirty.
Right.
In fact, they're sweaty, which means they have no calluses on them.
Right. No, he rents a laptop from the company to work remotely, comfortably in a chair with wheels.
He keeps saying that he's blue collar, and I'm like, no, you don't know what blue collar is.
Yeah, that's
like when your hands are rough and calloused, like my dad's. you're fucking blue collar.
Right.
Like, don't stop trying to act like you're blue. Are we changing the goalpost now? Are we?
I
Because
think he
like,
might be living in a blue collar neighborhood, and he thinks he is amongst like-minded people who are building roads and you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
actively getting their
maintenance
hands
and
in the
like
dirt and
fixing
putting
cars
correct, yeah.
and like, you're not fucking blue
I think
collar.
he's
So
like, "Oh
like,
yeah, me too."
yeah,
No.
no,
Yeah.
no. And to me, blue collar isn't even necessarily a price point. It's just the physical act of using your hand to do something, because these truckers and these maintenance men, they be making money.
Bread. Long
Bread.
money too. Like
Monet.
retirement stuff. Like you
Yeah.
can live
And
real
pensions.
fat on that. Yeah.
$40 an hour, $45 an hour. They are making money. So like,
Yep.
to be like, I'm blue collar, as though that means you salted the earth. You have an email.
Right. First
Like,
name, last name.
First name, last name.
At organization.com.
At yourorganization.com. So like, don't come at us with that. Because his mother was like, blue collar, and he's like, yeah, I sell dumpsters. They're like, nigga, you don't know what blue collar is. Like, his mother
Right.
didn't want to say that to him, but that's exactly what the
Yeah.
sentiment was. So anyways, Bree and her mother, but Bree's like, oh my God, he's so perfect for me. And he's so perfect for you. Like, Bree and her mother are just talking over each other. And I was like, oh, okay, that's where it gets.
Yeah.
That's where it happens.
You
now,
can tell the energy is like-minded there.
Yes, we also have a moment where Connor's parents are like, she's like, yeah, I went to his house and it's like Christmas tree is still up. And Connor's mom is like well, he's a guy. And I was like, no, you've raised a dirty guy. I just want you to know. Like, I mean, I don't exactly know how my brother would be, because, he's never lived on his own.
Mm-hmm.
But I know his Christmas tree wouldn't still be up. And if it would be up, he'd be laughing about it. And he wouldn't be like, I was waiting for you to come and fix it. When Connor said that to her, that he was waiting for her, and he's a clean slate for her to come and decorate and do shit, I was like, no.
I will say this. I think all of that is a cop-out.
Yeah.
And obviously, in those moments where Bree is pointing out all of his nuances that she doesn't particularly love, but she tries to play it off as playful. The mom's response to being like, oh, well, he's a guy, all that stuff. I don't buy shit like that for a second. Yeah. Like, I understand, and at the end of the day, listen, I don't just blame his mom for however the version of Connor that we're seeing, right? His dad was sitting right the mother F there. So there's, everyone here has had a hand in this version that we're seeing, including Connor himself. But equally, I feel like I can only speak for like my brother, for example. There are times where I've gone to visit my brother and I'm like, oh, wow, you really do everything. I'm like, oh, not the dishwasher and the laundry. You picking up this, all the homework. Oh my God. I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, damn, good for you. Yeah. Love that. Okay. And then I think back to how we grew up and how my dad was always just like, what needed to be done got done. It wasn't like, hey, can you? It's like, we're all contributing equally to this household. And if I want to live in a clean house, I gotta play my part. And like, what can I do to contribute to this clean house? So I feel like when I saw, my brother's married and has a kid and everything. So when I see my brother do that, I'm reminded of like, oh yeah, we saw that. Great. Yeah. I'm so glad it landed, because sometimes that shit don't land at the end of the day.
Sometimes it doesn't. Let me tell you, I don't know if I've ever seen my dad use a vacuum, but I've definitely seen him fix one. Now, I know that my dad's never washed the clothes in his life.
Okay.
Because one day he was like, oh, Wahima, can you help me? I don't know how to do this. And I was like, but you know how to fix this. You know how to fix
That's the hardest part. Truly.
You know how to fix this.
And rebuild it.
But you don't know how to use it. And he's like, why am I just put the washing powder in for me, please? I don't know. I was like, okay.
He didn't say you were wrong.
He didn't say I was wrong. But he does wash dishes because he cooks. So he will always wash a dish. Have I ever seen him mop a floor? No. But I've seen him sweep. I've seen him sweep outside. Have I ever seen him sweep inside? No. So it's like, yeah, there are certain things. Now, whomever, when it came time for the house to be clean and my mother was complaining and she only wanted me to clean and not my brother, my dad was like, he has hands, so he will clean. And now my brother cleans because right. So I know for a fact. Now, I don't know if there'd be things on the walls and I don't know if he'd have a headboard, but the house would be clean. The clothes would be washed.
Small steps.
Yeah.
A victory is a victory. Yeah. We gotta count them all.
But he's very hands-on with the kids. Very, very, very hands-on. He will wash a bottle faster than you can say. He's like, that's washing bottles is my job, and he's always with the
You're like,
kids, he's
"That's
always
right."
holding them. But again, he saw my dad do it because my dad is
Mhm.
always with the kids. My dad is always holding the kids. My dad will change a diaper. Like, he doesn't like to, my dad don't like to change the diaper. He's always like,
Yeah.
come change the boy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you change the boy. But if no
Right.
one's around, he'll change the boy.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like you see what the male in your house does or what the male makes you do in the
Yeah.
house,
Yeah.
and you can emulate that. And I think that's important. So in moving on to where are we at? We're at 50 minutes and we're not even at that second episode.
Oh,
This is long. We're
lordy,
taking long.
lordy.
Taking long. Okay, so we meet Emma and Mike's mom, and I wrote down Mike's mom is intense and didn't want this for her son, Italian family, the kids' conversation. They exonerated themselves at the very end once they
Yes.
realized her reasoning behind it. But I
Oh,
don't think that it should have taken them to hear her reasoning for them to not be assholes.
I disagreed with that. I agree with what you're saying, and I thought that they eased up on her when she said that she was raised by white people. I literally
Oh,
felt like I saw them be like, oh, I even think there's a moment where one of them, the mom or the dad, says, "Oh, okay, good." Like, says it's very low, but like, "Oh, okay, good."
oh,
I thought that's when they were like, they eased up a bit. Like, "Oh, okay, so we don't have to completely learn a whole new shebang because you didn't come from that,
oh,
and you don't know it either."
yeah.
You
I
know?
thought that they eased up when she said, I'm adopted and I was in an orphanage for 3 years and they came and got me and I'm Chinese and I
I had
was
cancer
raised,
and all
yeah,
this
and
stuff.
I don't know my history, and so I don't want to bring a child selfishly into the world and have them have 17
Mhm.
surgeries. And they were like,
Mm. Yeah,
okay,
like, you could
yeah.
tell they
Like,
they did
yeah,
sit back there.
yeah, they're like, we agree. We don't want you to have a children that has a lot of surgeries, and we wouldn't want you to do that. So, but the way that they were behaving as though a woman not wanting to have a child and marrying their son was a cardinal sin. And then the sister jumped in and said, we grew up with our cousins, and we want our kids to grow up with their cousins, meaning his kids. So, like, you can't be in this family if you're not going to
Mind you,
procreate.
she don't even have kids yet.
Yeah, and I'm like, I grew up that way with tons of cousins around
Mhm.
me, and I would never put I feel like because I grew up with tons of cousins around me, and there are some people in that I feel like shouldn't have had kids.
Mhm.
So, like, I'm like, if the second generation is smaller, which it absolutely
Absolutely
is.
is. Yep,
It
yep,
absolutely is. My grandma had 10
without a
kids.
doubt.
Her kids had 5 kids each. Those kids had 1.5 each. Like, no,
Yeah,
no one, it went down exponentially.
right, do not pass go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It went down my grandmother's great grandchildren. She went from having like 60 grandchildren to only having 20 great grandchildren. It it went down.
no, the world has
So
changed, so
the world has changed.
and
It's
the world is not conducive to supporting more children. It's not, it's the opposite.
absolutely not. And also people are like, listen, I don't want this headache.
I don't wanna keep my money.
I don't I remember my mom being mad and yelling and coming home angry every day. And guess what? I don't want to be mad, yelling, coming home angry every
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
Like, there
yeah,
are those of us who don't have kids, and there are those of us who have 2, maybe 3, but it's not on the same level. So, like,
right.
when they talk about it like that as though it's some kind of rite of passage and it's this expectation, I'm like, I feel sorry for the women in your family. Because this is a weird expectation to put onto especially women. Like, and making them because you want to make sauce and marinara and you want to like have gravy with your beef.
No, no, no. Gravy is what some Italians call sauce.
Oh,
They
okay.
use it interchangeably, and that's why, as someone who grew up on the East Coast, particularly in New Jersey, there are some Italians who call it sauce, some Italians who call it gravy. But we're talking about the same thing. It's
Okay.
the meat red sauce.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
there are some Italians in this scene, it was so triggering of my entire like childhood with the Italians that I knew because it was so different and so incredibly polarizing. And they would take such great offense. For example, when she said, "Oh, I like making spaghetti sauce." When Emma said that and the mom was like, "Oh, see, she called it sauce and it's gravy." Like, that was incredibly condescending. And
Yeah.
that's something that you hear a lot. And it was her trying to highlight the differences in what they want. He is committed to having children. She's uncertain. He calls it one thing, she has another name for it, which again is also appropriate. And I felt like the mom at the beginning kept wanting to find ways. And then she kept backpedaling and being like, it's not personal. You're a beautiful girl. It's just my son. It's just my son. And this is why a lot of people feel that mothers and sons have a weird ass dynamic, because they'll show up like that, show up incredibly just rude, disrespectful, out of pocket, and act like their needs as someone who's outside of this relationship is the driver of everything.
Yeah.
And their sons, though, will sit there and allow it.
Yeah.
And this scene was so cringe to me. I thought at the end they tried to redeem it, like you
Yeah.
mentioned, but I thought the majority of it, to me, I was just like, yuck. Emma, if this doesn't show you what your future will look like with all this
Yeah.
pressure,
Hmm.
babe, run.
Yeah, but she's in a place of asking for forgiveness consistently. Like she's in a place of like, well, no, I see your side of it. I understand why.
Do you think
Yeah,
she means that? I think she's playing the game.
I don't know what she's doing, because when we meet her and her family, I immediately realized that I needed to believe the words that she was saying and not think she was lying, because her
Oh,
fucking family's great.
I like
The
that a
way
lot.
that her mother showed up for her and advocated for her, and she tried to like shut her mother down. She's like, "Listen, I'm just advocating for you because I already know that you don't say what you mean and you don't actually say what you want." I
Ooh,
said I expected her people to be different, and I expected them to be Trumpers, and they came out giving
that's a
Democrat.
good point. That's a good, especially the sister who was like, "Listen, I wanted children. I love my babies. I don't regret my babies." She was like, "But if at the end of my life they say to me, 'Do it over,' what would I do? I would not have babies."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Good for you." And I will say this, social media received that very differently than how I did. Or at least I should say there's two sides to it. There's a lot of people who
Yeah.
are like, "Oh my gosh, your kids are gonna watch this. They're gonna think you're regretting it." And I was like, "Whoa, whoa. I didn't get that at all. I'm
Yeah.
getting, here's a woman who has multiple feelings
Yeah.
and is speaking from it from a she's an active
Mhm.
mom.
Mhm.
She has the right to have an opinion around like, this shit is kicking my ass. And I believe
Yeah.
it. When people
Yeah.
are like, "Oh, you know what? Motherhood is hard." And I'm like, duh, that shit looks hard. Duh. Ain't nobody sitting here saying that it looks so easy peasy. No, baby. It looks super mother effing
Ugh.
hard.
And that's
And
another thing I
I
want.
loved how honest she was.
That's another thing I want struck from the record too. I need for there to stop being shame about saying that if you could do it again, you wouldn't. And for people to stop putting that on the kids of like, your kids are going to watch this. No, your kids are going to know, damn. And I had a great upbringing. So let
Thanks,
me,
mom.
yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. So let me now reconsider whether or not I want to have more than one child. And if I do it, how, because I really do feel like the way that you do it, that where that your child has the best chances of coming out the best that they can be, is for you to kind of give up who you are, to create an environment in which they are allowed to breathe, move, think. Like it's, you give up a lot of yourself to be a good parent, to be the
100%.
kind of good parent that creates good humans, not despite you, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And there are critical years for that.
yes.
Especially in particular, but equally when you're a parent, right? You gotta see it through. It's not like the second they turn 13, you're like, "Oh, that's it." No, that's when you really gotta buckle in
Yeah.
because these are hormones and these are right, that's when things get real
You have
different.
got to teach them how to make decisions,
Yeah.
how to stand up for themselves, but
Just deeper
also not
trenches.
too much. Like there's a lot, because there's so much that
Discernment.
I'm so grateful that I did not have to deal with, because if I had to deal with them, I would have made the wrong choice, because my parents made me feel like I was wrong a lot of the time. They never, like, not my I can't say my parents. I could
Mhm,
say like
mhm,
certain ones,
mhm.
just made me think that I was wrong all the time for having the feelings that it was never a moment where it's like, okay, Wahima, like you're feeling this way. Like, why do you feel this way? It was like, you're wrong. You're uncomfortable. You're
Yeah,
wrong for feeling uncomfortable. And
yeah.
so I would have definitely put myself in a lot of situations. Like I sometimes, I know I'm going off on a tangent. Sometimes I listen to people talk about how, like in the acting world specifically, I always was like, oh, I'm gonna have to sleep with somebody to get casted in a role. And there
Mm,
are people out there who were like, oh no, that was my line. I was never gonna do that. And I was like, oh
I
yeah,
don't agree.
no, yeah, that's what you have to do. Like
Mhm,
I didn't have that because I didn't necessarily know that that was something I was allowed to have, because of the emotions that I did have. and I would
That were
say, like, this is
dismissed.
how they were dismissed. And I was always told that my emotions were wrong. And so
Mm.
I used to second guess and think that my initial reaction was always wrong. And so it's like now that I'm like, I'm not taking anything, So it's just like you never know, and I think it takes a person who walks into this with their eyes open and really aware of who they are and their past and how they want to raise their kids. So then we move on to Jess and Chris, and they're in an argument. And she comes in and she says, "You told me that you wanted a 13-hour break." And he's like, "I don't remember saying that." And she's like, "Well, I didn't make that up." And at that point, I was like, "Oh, I can't do that. Like, don't tell me you didn't say something when you absolutely fucking did." I'm
Because
not
those are
just
people
gonna.
who harp on details, saying, like, "I didn't say 13," and she's like, she's right, why would I make that up?
Yeah,
But he's focused on maybe he said 12 or something, but he did say
yeah,
a significant, you know what I mean? Like, he's not
yeah,
focused on the real issue.
yes. And he's like, the truth is I date people who do CrossFit and Pilates every day. And I was looking at her and I was like, we've seen her in a bikini.
She looked great.
What does her body look like to where you're like, "Oh, I don't want that"? And then what does Bree's body look like to where you're like, "I want that"? Because I'm looking at Bree and I'm like, and
They look the
I don't
same.
even want to look at anybody's body to dissect
Right.
it.
They look the
But
same.
they
Maybe
look the
she's
same to
taller.
me. Yeah.
She's taller at most. That's literally the only difference.
Yes.
And he looks like the Chuck E. Cheese mouse. So
And
I'm like,
so,
how are you
yeah, I don't
vocalizing?
understand.
Not even just thinking it, vocalizing it.
And we're
I
going to get to
hate
that.
ugh.
Yeah. Episode 9. We're now moving on to episode 9. Just being honest. So he said he thought he could get past it, but he couldn't. And he's now thinking about his number 2. And these are just his thoughts. And he's like, this is I love you. I'm in love with you. I feel like everything that I'm saying is true. And he's like, we have fun together, right? We have fun together. And he just is like, I just thought that if I keep working at it, it would get better. But spitballing here, just having thoughts. I wish that your body was tight and right, or you were taller than me. And she's like,
Come again?
she's like, "Well, we can't be together if you don't like my body." And he's like, "No, I could maybe get to liking it."
And she said, wait right here. Because I'm hitting the road, Jack.
Yeah.
I was so happy that she was like, okay, this is my stop. Pull the car over.
Because, like, how is it that a man thinks that he can say that he doesn't like a woman's body? Or how is it that a person thinks that you could look at another person and tell that person that you don't like their body and that you normally date, like, because is it about the routine? Is it about the dedication to something?
The discipline.
The
Like,
discipline? I mean, what is it? Because it can't just be
right.
that she's not tight enough.
The thing is, he makes it seem as if she's sitting on her ass, rotting away, when this woman is likely working 12-hour shifts as a physician in the Mother Effing hospital, saving lives every day. And he thinks he can fix his 2 crusty ass lips to say to her, your body is not what I'm used to. And equally, he softened a lot of it. Because as we see later on in the episode, he really drills into it. And you can tell he's obviously drunk at that point. But when he's sitting there on the couch with her, he seems so taken aback at the fact that she's like, well, if you don't like my body, I'm not going to sit here and beg you to like it. And he was like, no, I didn't say I don't like your body. And she's like, actually, that's verbatim what you said.
Yeah.
And he couldn't believe, like, I can't believe the disconnect for him.
Yeah.
Because he really was like, how did you get there? And she's like, you walked me there. You literally dropped me off right there at exactly what you said.
Yeah. She's like, he's like, yeah, I love you, but I hate your body. And we're like, that's not possible. If you love somebody, then it doesn't fucking matter what shell they're in. It doesn't fucking matter. And then I thought to myself, well, men do want to be with a woman based on what their friends think. And I'm like, no, that can't be it, because she's a cutie
She's
fucking
cute.
patootie. And then
She's
I
got her
thought
own
to myself,
home. She's got a career. And he's saying, not enough.
you don't go to
Like,
Pilates.
bruh.
And then she's like, but I never said I was going to do all that. You knew that I didn't work out and I
And in the
hated it.
pod, she was nothing but authentic because they
Yeah.
had this exact same conversation. He brought up CrossFit. He had brought up Pilates. And she said, physical fitness? No, baby, I'm on my feet 12 hours
Yeah.
a day. I'm getting my steps in regardless.
I
Like,
want him
I
to
don't
take
need
off
you
his
to do any
clothes
of
so I
that.
can see his body. I didn't
No,
see
we
his
saw him
body.
in Cabo.
Was there a six pack?
Absolutely not. And I wouldn't even call it a dad bod.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of a dad bod.
Yeah.
And listen, a lot of people on social media have gone back to those Cabo scenes and taken little screenshots. They've been like, you? Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Chris really thought that he could say that and it would be fine. And he's like, oh, I'm thinking of my number 2. He tells her that too. And he really thought that he could fucking say that and it would be fine. So Bree thinks that Bree and Connor are having a moment where they're cooking and they're in the kitchen and she's like, oh, thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing that. And he's like, you could be nicer to me. And she's like, yeah, I guess I could be nicer to you. So then we move on to Jordan and Amber meets Jordan's family. And Jordan's family, they are salt of the earth Americans. So just like, have you seen a CPAP? Just like kind of making fun of him and like, joshing around. Joshing is what I said because that's the only word I can think of. And doing all of that with him, and so it's like it's cute and it's a moment. And I hope they don't think that she thinks she's better than them because she refers to herself as a country bumpkin. So I was like, fits right in. So then we move on to Brittany, and Brittany and Devontae have a conversation about her feeling some type of way because Devontae is not calling her pretty. And then he says, well, I feel like you've told me this, but then if I tell you that you're pretty, then you're going to think that the only reason why I'm telling you that you're pretty is because you asked me to say it, and then I didn't want to say it. And I said, Devontae, are you 12 years old?
This is the same conversation we've had 17 times. She has had to repeat to him, tell me I'm pretty, tell me I'm this, tell me I'm that. And he's like, but if I tell you, then you're going to think I'm only telling you because you asked me to tell you. And I want them off my screen.
I want to know why. Yes, I want to know why he thinks that she's going to think something. Who the fuck cares what she thinks? She's saying, tell me. So he needs to tell her. And then he's like, I think that your eyelashes are voluminous and voluptuous, and I love your natural beauty because you don't wear makeup. And then I was like, get the fuck out of my face.
He's just saying words because he knows words.
Yeah.
They don't mean anything.
Yeah. So then we have a moment where Chris and Connor are talking out in their like public space of their apartment building. And Connor's like, just tell the truth, man. Just be honest. Meanwhile, Connor doesn't know that Chris low-key wants his woman.
Mm-hmm.
And also doesn't think Connor is shit. He don't think Connor is shit.
He's a really whack-ass friend. Typically, the guys on this show tend to have a little bit more of a bro code. And he is smiling in Connor's face. Meanwhile, he's plotting on his girl. We find out later that I think at this point, even when he's having that conversation with Connor, he may have already DM'd Bree. Remember, because we find that out later.
Yeah, we do find that out later. So like, but also Connor already knew that because Bree told Connor, Chris is in my DMs. He created an Instagram and he's in my DMs. So now we move on to Alex, and we meet Alex's mother, who is like very Montana. I mean, the lady looks like she's trying to pretend like she might be Native American, belly out.
She rode it on a motorcycle.
Yeah. She is like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm the cool mom. I don't know what to tell you. He's like, yeah, mom's cool, but also her coolness made me so sad growing up because I was an oops baby. And she drives trucks now and then doesn't tell me that she has a new job. So anyways, there's a conversation in which like Ashley now wants to know the timeline of Alex's relationships to prove whether or not he can be faithful or he's a cheater. Again, if somebody tells me, would I ask somebody, hey, have you ever cheated on your ex? No. If it were to come out where they told me they did, I would be like, just so you know, I don't accept that. You need to tell me if you don't want to be with me anymore. And you need to tell me immediately if you have sex with somebody else, or we need to have an open relationship. Like, there's no reason for you to cheat. If you want to have sex with somebody else, do it. But you have to tell me before you do it. And as well as then if you do it, you have to then open the relationship. Because
we have to open the relationship.
Yeah.
You don't run shit around here.
We have to open the relationship.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not that I understand that people play at monogamy because that's what is expected of them.
Mhm.
And or they play at monogamy because they don't want their partner to have sex with anybody else. They just want to be the person to have sex with
That's what
anybody
it
else.
is.
And so if that were to happen to me, I were to find out that my person was cheating on me, I would be like, oh, I'm gonna have sex with somebody else too, because I too want to have sex with other people. I just didn't because I thought we were in some kind of
We
like
were honoring
agreement.
what
Yeah, we
this
were honoring it.
yeah.
So like, yeah, there's people I want to fuck. So great. And if he's like no, then I'm like, oh, then we break up. And we
'Cause
break
that's it,
up
'cause you did it already.
because you don't want me to have fun. Like,
Yeah.
so that's why we're breaking up. Not because you cheated. I'm breaking up because you don't
You're
want me to
limiting me.
fucking, yeah, you're limiting me at this point.
Yeah.
So like be prepared to come with the same energy. But Ashley, but this is like a thing where people who like swear by monogamy is like she now needs to know the timeline of everybody. And she's like, well, if you were dating this person, so she's asking the mom. The mom is like, oh, is that the lady from Chicago? And the mom's like, no. Is that the travel nurse?
No.
No. Is that the
Also
lady
no.
he met in Australia? Yeah. Is it the same person as the travel nurse? Well, yeah, you know, Alex is not really being like clear with the timeline. And she's like, yeah, he's not. It's none of my business to tell you. I just know that
But you
he's been
already
hurt.
said enough.
Yeah. Just know that he's been hurt. So then we move on and we have Emma and her family. And this is where we were alluding to. And it is a great conversation. Emma's family is giving very much Democrat. I don't know if they are, but they're very much not. They're giving like, we wanted this little girl. She came to live with us. She had all these surgeries. And then we found out later on that she wasn't telling us what was happening to her. And then Emma's like, I just was different. But she never communicated to her family that she was feeling that way. And that's what I missed, because in my mind, she was communicating and they were just like, oh no, honey.
No, exactly. Because they said that she would come in from school and go straight to the basement and isolate. And I'm like, that was a cue. That is a behavioral demonstration of something going on. And listen, we all been there, right? You're in your teens, you're not that forthcoming. Things bother you and you kind of swallow it, whatever. But that's where the parents are meant to rise to the occasion of parenthood and dig a little bit deeper. And it caught me way by surprise in that moment when both of her parents were like, we had no idea you were having these issues or that you were struggling with all of the nuances behind her adoption and all that. That took me by surprise because I'm like, at no point did you think adopting a baby from a completely different culture who you knew you were going to raise in a rural place, that you were going to introduce her in a population that was not familiar with her. At no point did you consider that you would have to address that in her development, that you would have to be there to support her through that. That bit caught me by surprise
I feel
because her
like,
parents seem so open and warm and receptive.
I guess in my mind they did, and she was just like, no, I'm fine. And they didn't probe any further than that. I think besides just asking her or just like leaving the door open for her to come and communicate. And so like I don't know, I want to give them some kind of grace, because the way that she has to stop her mother from advocating her about this baby situation to Mike, where Mike is trying to like make it seem like it's normal, and they're like, no bitch, it's not. She already said she
Yeah,
don't want to have no fucking kids, so like why are you
yeah,
here?
yeah.
And I think it feels like that's the pillow talk between her and Alex later on, where he's like, I know I said that like I would
Her and
wait.
Mike.
Yeah.
Mhm,
There's a pillow talk where her and Mike are like laying in bed together. And he's like, I know I said that I would wait, or I know that I said I would give you time to
mhm,
think,
mhm.
but the truth is like, I don't think I can. I think I need you to say you want kids absolutely right now. And she's like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, this was just annoying, because like I wish that you guys were grown enough and adult enough to know that you should not have gotten engaged with each other if
Exactly.
you weren't on the exact same page with this very specific topic.
Mhm.
Um so yeah, we meet her niece and nephew, and of course all the baby pro baby people are like, you see, she's such a good mom because she hugged her niece and nephew.
It's like, no, there are babies in her family and she's not a monster.
Yeah.
And she loves them. Hello. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to treat children poorly because you don't want children. If anything, it's the
Yeah.
opposite. It's like, no, I actually think children deserve all of that stuff. I cannot give that or I don't want to give that. But they
Yeah.
deserve to have it.
I love my
These are
nephew and I
different
will
thoughts.
fight everyone in these
Listen,
streets for him. I love him
25-8.
down. I
Yes.
love
Same here
him
with mine.
down. Does that mean that I should have a baby immediately? No.
Yes.
Because I
I'm
took care of him. I changed his diapers. My
Yeah.
sister had to do her thing. She was in school. I stepped up, me and my dad, and we tag teamed and we took care of him, and we was tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
we,
No,
we
and
was
listen, but that's the case, right? Where you're like, I love the babies in my circle and my world, but that doesn't mean that I have to change my opinion on what I want. My nephew's the background on my cell phone. Like, I love him down. The only nephew I got, I'm going to visit him in a couple weeks. And I say all the time to my brother and my sister-in-law, I'm like, if anybody starts with him, do nothing. Call me. Y'all have a lot to lose. I have nothing to lose. I don't have no kids.
yeah.
I will go to the playground and we can handle it.
Yeah.
Easy. Easy. But that doesn't mean you have to change things. There was a moment where when the kids came that Mike turned to her sister and was like, "But do you regret it? Do you regret it?" No. And she was like, "If I had another chance to do it over, I would not have them." And he didn't expect that answer.
Yeah.
You can tell that he was like, "Oh," because after that he went kind of mute.
Yeah,
You
because he's
know,
not used to people saying that and being honest. He's used to the, oh, I love my kids, and of course I do
Agreed.
it again. And yeah, because I want to make gravy for them, and I want their kids to make gravy too. I think Mike should have struck her off the list when she said she wasn't sure about.
I
Yeah,
agree.
exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. Because he deserves to have what he wants and find
Exactly.
someone who wants that, and
Yeah.
she deserves to have what she wants, and neither of them should have pressure about it.
Peace. They should have peace. So then we have Ashley and Alex, and they talk about his ex, and I'm just like, fucking why? But that's what people do in relationships. They want exact timelines about shit. And then we move on to the group meetup. And this is where all the shit happens. So the guys are
Mhm.
there, and someone's like, let's play bowling. And I was like, play bowling. And Vic and Christine show up, and they hug them like they haven't seen them in years. And that's when I said, yes, Shay's correct. They are on a completely different timeline.
Mhm.
They are not a part of this. They aren't going to any of the meetups. They're not hanging out they're not neighbor. Like, could you imagine could you imagine if Noah had said yes, and we had some of those idiots in our
In our
building
building.
coming down uh to puppy wine time,
Yappy
to
hours and all
yappy hour,
the
to
yogas
coming
on Saturday
yogas on Saturday in the gym, and they just were chitty chatting because they do.
with the
For those of you who
cameras.
don't know, we live in real life Melrose Place. Our apartment complex is Melrose Place, except for it's 200 units instead of 6.
Yeah.
We all chat, we all gossip, we all
Yeah.
gab.
Yeah.
Anytime there's something happening, one of us shows up
Ooh.
to somebody else's thing,
Yeah.
gets a beer, he listens, tells the other people. We have a
Yeah.
gym, like our building throws events. We
Yep.
all go to
They're
the
well
event,
attended. Yes.
find each other.
Yep.
like,
Right away. And then we're like,
yes,
"What'd you hear? Why? Oh my
yeah.
god.
Oh,
Let
what
me tell
happened?
you.
Yeah,
You didn't see what happened on 3 the other day?"
yeah.
Like,
We had a party. Hey guys, this elevator is down. Like
right.
we are that in this apartment complex. And
Yeah.
so them living together, they're hanging out all the time in the common room, having a good ass time. So for
Mhm.
them to hug Vic and Christine like they ain't seen them
Like they came back
means,
from war.
yeah, it means that Vic and Christine are not there.
Yeah.
So Kia shows up and showed us Kevon, but they don't in this episode, we don't see any interaction between
I
Kia and
actually
Kevin.
forgot all about them, but you're right.
Yeah.
Probably because it was so much with these other folks that they were
It
like,
was
"Hold
so
on, we gotta
Chris
split
came
this
in
up."
like a fucking tornado.
Bat out of hell.
Okay, so then the girls get together and someone is like, he bought followers on IG. And then someone else is like, oh, Bree was like, oh my God, he told Connor that he dates girls between 21 and 25. And the girls are like, they're obsessed. They keep talking about it. Then Jess walks in.
And Riley would be like,
And
"You look
they
great.
run and hug Jess. They were like, girl, you look great. Have you been
Your
doing
body
Pilates?
right."
They start to holler and scream. And
"Have
then
you been doing Pilates?"
Chris comes, and Chris is already there at that point, and Chris is like, they hate me. And Connor's like, no. And I was like, what is this? Is this Minnesota? Are you guys doing Minnesota
Right.
nice? Why are
Right.
Connor and Jordan being like, nah, they fucking hate you?
Right.
Bro, why did you say that? Why did you do that? I wish that they would have a real conversation with him so they
Men
can give us
don't hold men
actual good.
accountable
Yeah.
ever.
They don't at all. The first
They're
thing
just like, "Bro, you
that
wildin', bro. You crazy,
the
son. You
first thing that Connor says when Chris shows up is like, "What's up, dog?" And I was like, "Connor, he's trying to fuck your girl. What's up, dog?"
Especially with his low-hanging fruit approach of being like, "Oh, yeah," in her DMs. Apparently, that's what won
Yeah.
her over.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's like, yeah, as soon as it happened, he sent me this obscure DM and was like, oh yeah. And then she's like, immediately I shut it down. I showed it to Connor so that Connor could see what was going on. And then Amber is livid.
I love
Amber
her
is like,
back.
I fucking told you. Yeah, I fucking told you. This is bullshit. Like, he, like, someone's like, the first thing he did, he got his Instagram back and he went to a strip club and took a picture
Mm,
with a pole in the back and the stripper on his lap. And I was like, first of all, ain't nothing wrong with the club.
nothing.
Secondly, he's an idiot for putting on his socials. That's stupid. Not You don't put the club on the socials.
Exactly.
And so then Amber's like, gross ass bitch. And then she's like, ugh, narcissistic fuck. And she's like, I told you about them pussy ass bitches. I said, Amber,
Go off, Amber.
go
Go off.
off.
'Cause she was not wrong. And I don't think she
She,
was lit at this point. I think
yeah,
Amber was having some drinks. I think Amber has just been like, "Fucking told you, these fucking losers.
yeah.
Like, get over these bums. Like,
She's like,
girl,
I
be
hate
serious."
men. I hate them. And he's like, he's too short to be that cocky. And then he ends up going up to her later on. And she's like trying to be cool, maybe for Jordan's sake. And then at some point, she's like, do you think you're going to get another hot doctor or what?
She said, "Just saying."
Just saying, and walk the fuck away. I said, you know what, Amber?
She ate
Okay.
with that.
8. So then Alex acts like, okay, so then Pre comes. Pre comes in.
Who we wanted to know more of anyway.
With her fine ass. Okay.
Beautiful.
Pre comes in. And they're like, who's that? Who's that? Is that Pre? Pre? And he's like, I think it's Pre. And someone looks at him and is like, what do you mean? Like, is that Pre? He's like, I don't know. And so then the producers pull him aside and they're like,
In the
you know
confessional.
Priyanka? And he's like, yeah, I know her. We know each other from Chicago. And we're like, when did you live in Chicago?
Right, because he never mentioned that before, but he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, she ran in the same circles, and we're in the same friend group." And then they show obviously this big group picture, and I'm like, "So," because when they walked in, they were like, "Is that is it Priyanka?" Like they couldn't even say her name. And then we go to find out that they hung out in circles. So I'm like, "Oh, so you knew her name? You were
Yeah.
downplaying it in front of these other guys."
Yeah.
And then in the confessional, he's like, I didn't want to ruin her experience. I didn't want to have to interrupt it and say to anyone that I knew her, that she knew me, whatever. And of course, she comes right in saying hi to everyone and gives everyone a little side hug or whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, the producers wouldn't have drip fed us a little bit of those nuggets of her and him mentioning it separately in a confessional if we weren't going to get more about this little storyline. And
Yes.
he is absolutely in line with his type.
Yes.
So I'm eager for this week to see what they release because at first I thought that maybe they hooked up, but there's something there.
Yeah, I feel like it was smart for him to not mention that he knew Pre so that they both could have all they had to do was just be in the same room with each other and be like, no, yeah, we're not fucking with each other and move on.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing they could have just done, because there's been times where people have known each other on the outside and they just kind of ignored it, because they're just like, yeah, we already know it's not blind if I fuck with you. So then, but I also think that Pre is in line with his, like, what he wants. He wants that, you're right, he wants the dark eyes and the dark skin, and she got it. So then Jess tells the girls about Chris and the breakup. She reiterates it to them and they're like, no, oh my god. And then the fact that, like, people started sending her screenshots of his IG situation, and that he actually did bring up the fact that of his number 2, and they're like, who's his number 2? And she's like, Bree. And they're like, oh my god. So then we get a snippet of Chris going to the bathroom, and he got a hot mic
with
and
Alex.
he's like, Bree is so hot, like, I want to talk to her, but like, Connor, fuck him, like, what's he gonna do, beat me up? Ha 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 ha. So then that's when he goes to Amber and tries to, like, talk to Amber. He's like, I know you fucking hate me. And Amber's like, no. And I was just like, Amber, don't be fake. I'd have been like, yeah, I do. I don't want to talk to you, actually. You guys talk if you want to. And then she's like, yeah, you think you're going to find another hot doctor? And then he pulls the girls aside. He pulls aside Bree, Pre, and
Priyanka.
Ashley.
Yeah.
And I didn't like this because I don't necessarily enjoy them giving him a space to be able to talk about their homegirl, even if
Yep.
they were doing reconnaissance.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And
I
it's
think Bree was the worst in this
yes,
moment.
yes, especially Brie, because she is being a little pick me by hanging out with him because she knows that her and him had a connection. And so in her mind, she's willing to quote, hear him out. But
Yeah.
I'm like, it is borderline disgusting that he has had sex with this woman, especially what he tells them is he says, I don't care if she was a trust fund millionaire. I don't give a flying F. I could not see the sex growing any better. He was making it seem like the sex with her was yuck. And I just don't believe that.
I don't believe that for a second, especially because he's proven himself to be a liar multiple
Mhm.
times throughout this season. That scene in particular probably infuriated me more than anything because there's nothing I hate more than uh pick-me's and women who are willing to allow men to speak poorly and negatively about other women in front of them and think that the tables won't turn to you at some point. To think that you are
Immune to
not
it.
yeah, immune to it. Exactly. And even, I thought even Ashley and Priyanka stayed even longer than I would have wanted even them to. The second they would have been like, listen, guys, it just didn't, I would have been like, I'm going to stop you right there. I feel like you've run your mouth enough. And if there are things you haven't said to her, then say it to her. But saying it to us, what does that do? We're not going to marry you. So
Yeah.
what's the reason between why do you want to get this off your chest so bad? I thought you
Yeah.
already told her what it was and you guys are not together. Let it die.
Yeah.
Why are
And
you still
it
feeding it here? And then
it's
Bree, and then
incredibly rude for you to tell us that
100%.
you found sex with her to be horrible. It's completely
100%,
rude because that's
especially
my
because
girl.
right, and because he knew, hello, it's being filmed, and there were multiple moments. For example, I think when they split up, Jess messaged Bree to tell her,
Yep.
which that means that in Jess's mind, her and Bree are friends.
Even though
So
she
if
knew that
I'm
Brie was the second.
100%, but even then, but okay, again, in these pods, everyone was someone's number two or number one, whatever the case may be, right? We haven't seen it be weird between Emma and Connor.
Yeah.
And that was her number one, despite her lying about it a
Yep.
couple episodes ago. So
Yep.
to me, I thought if I'm Jess, not only am I upset that he's running his mouth, but I'm incredibly annoyed that Bree is standing there and just taking it and not even saying like you're doing too much. This is too far. That's the only way that I would have given Bree an inkling of like, okay, you know what, fine. Because as he was talking, you were shutting it down every step of the way to being like,
Yeah.
nope, you're whack, whatever. Because then Chris turns it around and starts to talk about Connor and
Mhm.
starts to say, like, oh, I know he's not the best you've ever had, is it?
Mhm.
Babe, at that point, I would have been like, that's none of your business.
Yeah.
Don't you wish you knew what goes on in my bedroom?
Yeah.
But you'll never know. And what you're doing right now is making you look really sad and pathetic. And I know you're drunk right now, but I need you to just go maybe drink some water and try to get yourself together because whatever version of you that you're giving off right now, it's not a win
Mm-mm.
at all.
At all. Like he says that there's pheromones and he needs to be sexually attracted when they're naked and he could not do that for the rest of his life. And he's like it's the worst I've ever had in my life. And then Ashley asks Pri if she wants to go talk to Alex. And then they leave. And I said, "Ooh, someone follow them. Follow them with that camera. Follow them."
Oh, I didn't pick up that she said
Yeah,
that she
she
wanted
said
to
that. She's like,
talk to
"Want to go talk
Alex.
to Alex?" She's like, yeah." And so then he says, Chris is like, uh, Connor is submissive, and I could have turned up the heat when we were in the pods, but I didn't. Because I let you like choose how you wanted to be. And also that Connor's gonna meet your dad, right? You need somebody to be able to go to your dad because your dad is a businessman and who makes money, and
And
you need
talk to him
somebody who's
about
going to come
Charles
up with him with
Schwab.
Charles Schwab account. And like then we cut to Connor being like, "I'm just a normal blue collar dude," and then we cut back to Chris being like, "Yeah, I'm an alpha." And I said,
Where?
"Babes,
Where?
babes, a dominant alpha man would have never said what he said about
Exactly.
Jess. he would have, at the very least, maybe attempted to train her or something. But he would have wanted to fuck this shit. Like, there is, you don't say that and then talk about how someone is alpha. It just is disgusting to me that there are so many men in this world who think of themselves as being dominant and alpha when they are in fact not. There is a responsibility that comes with those titles and that you do not take responsibility for. The way you've disrespected Jess on camera twice to two different audiences shows that you ain't nothing but a little ass man.
Which he is. In every sense of the word.
And Amber could not take it, and I loved Amber for that.
Yeah.
And then she's like, is he the best you've ever had? And that bitch answers no. She's like, is that what you're looking for? You're looking for the best you've ever had? And I said, Bree, go on ahead and just shut it down. He's like, you need somebody who's dominant to guide you.
First of all Bree gives is dominance. Not the only thing she gives, but she gives a lot of dominance.
She doesn't want.
Do you think there's a shortage?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a shortage for our girl? Because
yeah. And I think the only reason why he's into Bree is because Bree's younger than him. I think the age played a lot into it too. Like, in his mind, he was like, oh God, I want somebody who's tight and right. She's not tight and right at 38. It's only going to get worse.
He's so embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's so embarrassing.
So embarrassing. So I think we got a lot of fun things that are going to come up. A lot of good stuff that's going to end up happening.
Yes.
So
I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. It's a salacious, juicy season, but it's infuriating at the same time. And I understand why they're like, well, we got to put these people on TV. It makes money.
It is entertaining. I will say that.
Yeah.
They're vile, but it's entertaining.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Shay, tell them where they can find you.
Y'all can find me on TikTok, Shailene Says, and you can find me on Instagram and on YouTube at Sugar Shay.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for for watching us for this hour-and-a-half episode. We talked a lot, and it was good. It's a good conversation. The next drop of Love Is Blind comes out the following Wednesday, next Wednesday coming up, which is, I don't know what date. And Shay and I will get to it.
We will. We'll
get to it. We'll get to it. So thank you guys so much. Stay tuned for my 90 Day Fiance recaps that are coming within the next 2 days. And you all have a fantastic evening. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye. Jump in the line. Rock your body on.